Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the February 17th, 2023 meeting of the Montgomery County House Delegation. Today, we are starting with a special guest, Congressman Glenn Ivey, who represents the 4th District in the U.S. House of Representatives. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we welcome you to speak a bit and share whatever thoughts you'd like with the delegation. And then if we have a little time, we'll take some questions from our members, if that's okay.
Sure. Looks like I'm having trouble with my camera there. So let me stop that. But yeah, I appreciate you having a chance to come on and say hello this morning. Wanted to do a couple of things. One is introduce myself to those of you I haven't met yet. I don't know that there's many of those, but also to introduce you. I've got some of my team that's going to join us. Beth McKenzie is my district director. You probably know her. I think she worked on in Annapolis with Julian for a while. And we were fortunate enough to pick her up. She's done a great job of setting the office up already. Aaron Harawa, who was also got Annapolis chops, and he's my scheduler in DC. If you need to reach me for anything, those two are an easy way to go. And then Ramon Koryanoff, who's been my media person for off and on for the past 20 years, and also got his start in Annapolis too. So, anything we need to do where you need to reach us for something, feel free to touch base with any of them or me directly. I definitely want to comment on today. I do have, most of my district is Prince George's County, but we've got some of Burtonsville, and want to make sure they don't feel neglected and work with them to make sure, and their delegation members to make sure they're getting the representation they need and deserve. And I definitely wanted to make sure we had a good working relationship on that front. Couple quick things. I can talk a little bit about the Hill, but there were a couple of things I wanted to ask you all about. One of the big things that's happening right now, as you know, in the last 2 years, Congress and the Biden administration enacted a lot of legislation that has trillions of dollars flowing out of the federal government, and programs across the board. A lot of those dollars are distributed by formula, but also some of them are discretionary and some are competitive. There's grants, for example, for things like violence reduction, violence against women. There's also the infrastructure bill, where I think President Biden was up in Baltimore kicking off, I think it's like $4 billion for that. And one of the things I wanted to touch base with you all about and sort of make sure it's on your radar screen is that there are going to be groups in your community that might be eligible for grants from those programs. I've talked with the governor a little bit about it to make sure that we have a state sort of point of contact to help people find where those dollars are and pursue them. And Leader Jeffrey set up a new piece in the House that's going to be headed by Steny Hoyer. It's called the Regional Leadership Council. That's also aimed at making sure that there's coordination for that too. And the White House has 4 point people as well to help with that. So lots of dollars there. You all have a lot of projects in your district potentially that could benefit from those. And maybe we can talk a little offline. And you also have great people in touch with the appropriations process. Trone is a cardinal. Chris Van Hollen obviously has been on appropriations for years. Steny's on there, and so is Rupersberger. So we've got strong representation on that front. And then one quick thing I want to chat with you a little bit about too, that I don't think is really on the national radar screen yet, and that's affirmative action. There are 2 cases that are coming through the Supreme Court. They're aimed at, a public university, which is the University of North Carolina, a private university, which is Harvard. My guess is that the Trump wing of the Supreme Court is going to strike down affirmative action. The point I want to make for you all, though, which is sort of the broader potential ripple effect of that, I don't think it's going to be limited to higher education. So I think what could happen really in short order after that Supreme Court opinion is any kind of programs that use race in some form for preference, and that could be, for example, public contracts, your school system making awards to people for construction, our state government doing the same. I think all of those programs that are set up in that way could be at risk. Certification to compete in those programs at the federal level is the 8A program, but we have state equivalents for that too, especially for transportation projects and a lot of the infrastructure dollars that are becoming soon. All of those programs could be at risk. Hiring and promotion in public service positions like police, fire, and other sort of public offices like that. Programs to try and get more minorities in teaching. All of those programs could be at risk. So the point I want to make on that is I think, I know there's some jurisdictions like Boston that's already started working to try and put together a program to put in place of that in the event the Supreme Court does strike down racial preferences or even references of all kinds. I think we need to do more of that in Maryland too. We were ready for Dobbs when they struck down the right to an abortion because of the state laws that were in place. I don't know that we've got the equivalent in place here in the state of Maryland. So let me stop there. If you all want me to talk about the the circus that is the House Republican caucus right now, I'd be happy to go into that too. The 15 votes to get a speaker and all of that. It is just as dysfunctional as it looks on television, and I'd be happy to discuss it. And any other things or questions, thoughts, or concerns you all might have as well. I'm here to take your questions and hear your thoughts.
Thank you very much, Congressman. Colleagues, anyone have any questions? All right, I don't think we have any this morning, but we very much appreciate, oh, I'm sorry, Delegate Love.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Congressman. I'm very disturbed by the potential Supreme Court ruling. And I was wondering, I haven't been following it probably as closely as I should have, but I was wondering if you had any sense, couple of things. One, how narrow or how broadly is there sort of a sense of how this court is going to go? Roberts Court in general has tried to go narrow, but it's a whole new ball game now with these folks. And then it was a somewhat different case with Dobbs, and incredible appreciation to my colleague, Vice Chair, soon to be Senator Kelly, for her leadership on that. And I'm wondering if you have some thoughts on state legislation that we should put in place as a result of what's coming down the pike.
Yeah, great question. I think, for example, in Boston, what they're looking to do is to try and put in place other criteria that might serve as proxies for the things we're trying to address with racial factors and gender, for that matter, which I don't think is directly in front of the court right now, but I think that could be at risk as well. So, for example, socioeconomic status might be the easy default position. The challenge is on that front, it hasn't worked as a great proxy across the board in other states that have tried it. California, for example, where they had a state referendum that eliminated affirmative action and school enrollment. They tried to shift to that, but it didn't work all that well. I don't know. I'm not sure that there have been a lot of other states that have tried that, for example, with procurement. But that might be a factor to look at because it is a component that's already in one of the qualifications, say, for example, for the 8A program to be certified to participate. You can't be, Robert Johnson or some, African-American, but a billionaire. So that's one thing to look at. The other part to look at too, though, is, I'm not exactly sure what you do in scenarios. Let's take employment and promotions, let's say in police departments, for example. Socioeconomic status isn't going to be a good differentiation tool there because you'll have the cops who are looking to get the promotion, by and large, would be making roughly the same salaries and might have same, credentials. And most departments aren't set up really well to look behind the curtain on socioeconomic factors like that anyway. So it's going to be a problem. And one of the things we might want to think about is putting together some sort of a team or a commission to start thinking about this in advance. The worst case scenario for that is maybe the Supreme Court doesn't go as far as I'm worried they will. And then, whatever work they might have done won't be a problem. But my hunch is that they're going to go there. As you recall with Dobbs, Chief Justice Roberts wanted to take a narrower approach, but he was just outvoted by the supermajority that the Trump wing is now. So I think we should start getting ready. I know there are other jurisdictions. I mentioned Boston. There are other places like California that have taken a look at that. I think we might want to have a group that does takes a look at what they're doing in other places. Another option you might want to try is the summer study approach. Because by then you'll know for sure how far the Supreme Court's going to go and whether it's going to have the broad effect that I'm worried it'll have.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you.
Delegate Kaufman.
You're muted.
Yeah, Congressman, this is Aaron Kaufman. Always
you
good
doing?
to see you, my friend.
My pleasure.
And so my question is, because this will affect state finances, each day in the Washington Post and everything else I read, there are really disturbing headlines about a potential default in a few months, and that will affect state finances. So do you have any sense of whether you think they'll actually raise the debt ceiling? And if so, how draconian the cuts that McCarthy will demand will be? I know your crystal ball may be a little bit cloudy, but you're very bright. And so I was wondering if you had any insights.
Yeah, that's a great question too. My sense is that there's a battle going on within the Republican House caucus, that McCarthy really doesn't want to walk it up to the cliff. In fact, that's kind of consistent with the statements he made after the meeting he had with Biden at the White House a few weeks ago. But the conservative caucus, I call them the crazy caucus, frankly, is really going to push the envelope on that front. I thought the president's performance in the State of the Union was brilliant. I thought he ran circles around him at that, and he's essentially got him to commit with respect to Social Security and Medicare, which I think was a big step in the right direction on taking that off the table in connection with any kind of debt ceiling dispute. And now you're starting to hear more sort of conservative, more sort of moderate aspects of the Republican Party, like say the business community, Chamber of Commerce, for example, which normally isn't siding with the Democratic Party, but they're sort of issuing warnings about the real damage that could be done, even if we just walk up to the edge of the cliff and don't jump over. So hopefully they'll come to their senses on that pretty soon. But I'm not, watching them take 15 votes to pick a speaker, which should have been like a 3 to 5 minute function, gives me pause. And the fact that they are unable to really come up with any kind of substantive legislation, even legislation I don't like, so far it's just been sort of symbolic stuff. We're opposed to socialism, or, pledge of allegiance before every judiciary committee hearing. It's nonsense like that. It's, there are student governments that do a better job, I think, of framing up serious issues than they've done so far. So we certainly can't count on them to get it done at this point.
Thank you, Congressman, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I think that is it in terms of our questions. We're very appreciative of you coming today and providing some updates and answering questions, and look forward to continuing to work with you and your staff.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm going to drop off now, but I think some of my team might stay on.
They are welcome to. Thanks again.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, colleagues, next we're going to hear very briefly from County Council President Evan Glass. He just wanted to share an update.
Thank you very much, Chair Polakovich-Carr. It was a great briefing with Congressman Ivey. I just wanted to express my appreciation to all of you and personally let you know about the letter that we sent to Delegate Lopez and Chair Polakovich-Carr regarding some of the ongoing legislation that you are deliberating upon regarding the Park and Planning Commission. My colleagues and I appreciate the ongoing conversation about how to make sure the Park and Planning Commission fulfills its roles to build the communities of today and tomorrow, and do so in a collaborative way where we cut red tape and streamline processes. So if you have not seen that letter, we did send it to Delegates Lopez and Polakovich Carr, and so you can get it from them or from me. But I just wanted to say thank you and look forward to continuing to collaborate on all these issues that affect Montgomery County and our governmental institutions.
Thank you, Councilmember. We appreciate you coming on and your continued partnership with the delegation, and look forward to continuing working with you on these issues. All right, next we are going to move to our next piece of business, which is late filed bill acceptance votes. I think we'll start with Delegate Holmes, who is here on a bi-county bill, MCPG 108-23, Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission, Commissioner Qualifications, and General Manager Voting. Delegate Holmes, would you like to tell the delegation why the bill is late?
Senator.
All right, we appreciate that answer. Colleagues, any
Move to accept the late filed bill.
Thank
Second.
you.
Second.
Okay, so moved by Delegate Corman, seconded by Delegate Love, and we will need to do a roll call vote if Jennifer and Ralph are ready to do so.
Delegate Isavero. Delegate Marvin.
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, sorry. That
Aye.
was Delegate Isavero.
Yeah.
Okay, there. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. And I got
Yes.
Delegate Barbe also. Delegate Charcudian.
Yes.
Delegate Crutchfield.
Yes.
Delegate Cullison.
Yes.
Has Delegate Foley been able to join? Okay. Delegate Fraser Hidalgo.
Yes.
Delegate Kaiser. Delegate Kaufman.
Yes.
Delegate Kelly.
This is Delegate Kaiser. I don't know if I was heard as yes.
I was not. You were not, but you're added now. Delegate Corman.
Yes.
Delegate Lopez.
Yes.
Delegate Love.
Yes.
Delegate American North.
Yes.
Delegate Moon.
Yes.
Delegate Chief.
Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Delegate Resnick. You've been able to join. Okay. Delegate Shetty.
Yes.
Delegate Solomon.
Yes.
Delegate Stewart.
Yes.
Delegate Vogel.
Yes.
Delegate Wilkins.
Yes.
Delegate Wu.
Yes.
Delegate Ziegler.
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
All right. Definitely a 2/3 majority.
Thank you. Thank you, Delegate Holmes. We will circle back in terms of scheduling your bill hearing with our delegation.
Thank you very much. I've got to leave to go to Prince George's if you don't mind, Madam
Of
Chair.
course. Thank you.
very much.
I think that Delegate Taveras is on with us as well, and we can go to her bill next. Another late filed bill, MCPG 112-23, Prince George's County Commercial Property Right of Purchase. Delegate Taveras, can you please explain why the bill is late?
The next two bills that we'll be discussing, as you know, I'm a new elected official and I could not file a bill until I became an official elected official. So on for these two bills, that's the reason why it's late.
Thank you. And I'll just clarify for your other bill that had come in as a bi-county bill, 113, actually when DLS took a look at that, they decided that that one is not a bi-county bill. So MCPG 113-23 actually will not be coming through our delegation. I think that's just going to be in Prince George's.
Thank you. And I'm thoroughly confused by all this right now. There's a lot of waffling on the bills, but thank you for that final clarification. If
Right.
this is it, I can move forward with peace in my heart. Finally,
No
knowing where
worries.
my legislation is gonna end up. So thank you so much.
Yes, okay. Is there a motion on
So move, Madam
112?
Chair, move to accept the late file bill.
Second.
Moved by Delegate Kaufman, seconded by Delegate Love. Jennifer, if we could get a roll call vote, please.
Delegate Isavero,
Yes.
Delegate Barbe,
Yes.
Delegate Charcudian,
Yes.
Delegate Crutchfield,
Yes.
Delegate Cullison,
Yes.
Delegate Frazier Hidalgo,
Yeah.
Delegate Kaiser,
Yes.
Delegate Kaufman,
Yes.
Delegate Kelly, Delegate Corman,
Yes.
Delegate Lopez,
Yes.
Delegate Love,
Yes.
Delegate Merrick North,
Yes.
Delegate Moon,
Yes.
Delegate Chi, Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Resnick, Delegate Shetty,
Yes.
Delegate Solomon,
Yes.
Delegate Stewart,
Yes.
Delegate Vogel,
Yep.
Delegate Wilkins,
Yes.
Delegate Wu,
Yes.
Delegate Ziegler,
Yes.
Madam Chair.
Yes. So we are accepting that one as late filed as well. And we have one last bill, colleagues, that is coming over late. That's a bi-county bill, MCPG 111-23, Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission Service in Regional Transit Districts in Prince George's County contracts. This is a bill that is sponsored by the chair of the Prince George's County Delegation at the request of their county executive. I don't believe that Chair Charles or any of his staff are on the call today to explain why the bill is late, but out of courtesy, I would move that we accept this bill as late filed.
Second.
Okay, moved by myself, seconded by Delegate Kaufman. Delegate Frazier Hidalgo.
Yeah, I just wanted to, for some of the new members and for the Prince George's County delegation, I think it's important for everybody to understand that today is February 17th. We have bill filing dates for a specific reason. And one of those reasons is because we don't really want to have bill hearings in the middle of March or at the end of February. And I understand that things happen and sometimes you don't get ideas or you just recently got elected. But this is the fourth late bill, and I'm going to go along with it. I just think that we need to make sure that those folks understand that the reason we have bill hearings in November and December is because we'd really rather not have them in the heat of session at the end of February or the middle of March. So I'm going to go along with this because I think it's the right thing to do overall. But I do think that we need to be careful about setting precedents about just keep taking late bills and late bills and late bills, and then having bill hearings in the middle of March. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Jennifer, if we could do the roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. Delegate Isavero,
Yes.
Delegate Barbe,
Yes.
Delegate Charcudian,
Yes.
Delegate Crutchfield,
Yes.
Delegate Cullison,
Yes.
Delegate Frazier Hidalgo,
Yes.
Delegate Kaiser,
Yes.
Delegate Kaufman,
Yes.
Delegate Corman,
Yes.
Delegate Lopez,
Yes.
Delegate Love,
Yes.
Delegate Merrick North,
Yes.
Delegate Moon,
Yes.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Resnick, Delegate Shetty,
Yes.
Delegate Solomon,
Yes.
Delegate Stewart,
Yes.
Delegate Vogel,
Yes.
Delegate Wilkins,
Yes. Yes.
Delegate Wu,
Yes.
Delegate Ziegler,
Yes.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
23 in favor of those present.
thank you. So we'll accept that one as late filed as well. Thank you, colleagues. Next, we will turn to late filed bill hearing. Delegate Tavares. This is MCPG 110-23. And I believe she has one witness that will be joining her as well. Delegate Tavares, you are welcome to start with your remarks, to be followed by Carla Reed from WSSE.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I put on lipstick for you guys. Thank you so much. So, and I have I'm not yelling, I'm Dominican mug, so I'm ready. So, this bill for me is important because I'm sure we all followed a lot of the conversations or a little bit of the controversy that occurred recently within the board of WSSC. And in my years in the county council, I saw that there was always some level of contention going on with the board that didn't really focus on the issue of making the utility more efficient. And that to me was highly concerning, given that I don't know how many of you are aware of some of the conversations that were had in executive session, but there are a couple of consent orders that are really troubling. And we do really need to think about how do we make this process better. And this is something that was really dropped on the lap of Carla Reed when she came on board. And so what I saw on there was that there was a lack of subject matter expertise. And I think at the end of the day, this bill goes to correct that. It would, in essence, allow for us to be able to still put political individuals the way we always do, and add 3 positions of subject matter expertise, one in the area of mechanical or civil engineering, which would switch off, the other one which would be in the area of environmental engineering or chemical engineering, and then finally another one on water conservation expertise. And we see that in other utilities around the country, even in our nearby jurisdictions, they do have subject matter expertise on the board. And that feeds into the decision making to make it a more informed process, and therefore you can be more focused and intentional in how to move the utility forward and have it be more efficient and more cost effective for our customers. So with that, I would like for Ms. Carla Reed to come forward and be able to speak to her knowledge of why she also believes that this is a proper solution. In addition to the fact that it would add her in the decision-making process as part of, with obviously several exemptions to avoid conflicts of interest, to make sure that she's part of the decision-making process as somebody who is in the midst of managing the utility. And I thank you, and I ask for a favorable report on this bill. And thank you for allowing me to come before you and for accepting this late file bill. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you, Delegate. And I neglected to mention earlier, Ms. Reed, you'll have 3 minutes for your testimony. Go ahead. You know what? We can't hear you. You don't look like you're muted.
I don't see her. Has she been dropped off?
She is in and on video, but when she was speaking, we weren't getting the audio.
Let me see.
We still cannot hear you.
Hold on, because she was, I did see her before.
Ralph, do you want to maybe send through, we have chat disabled. I was going to say, do you want to see if you can give Ms. Reed the phone number to call in?
Sure thing.
And while we get Carla set up, is there any members of the delegation who had any questions for the bill sponsor? Delegate Corman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I mean, this would probably be better to ask after we hear from Ms. Reed, but, since we're filling time here, I have to admit, Delegate, thanks for bringing the bill, and I appreciate the expertise part tremendously, but you kind of yada the adding the general manager to the commission. So do you want Ms. Reed to talk more about that, or do you want to talk about that? That seems pretty significant to me.
No, I do think that she's the person that would be best versed to comment on that. Just in my opinion, I believe that I have seen it in other boards. This is not something that's foreign, but I do think that, like I said, given that typically the folks we add on the board are either lawyers, with all respect, or individuals that are political operatives that will comply with desired outcomes. And I just kind of feel that, when folks are trying to figure out how they fit in a board, we spend more time trying to figure out how people fit than we do on working towards a solution to make it more cost effective and more efficient. And so to me, having 4 votes that are knowledge based on the board is significant, even though we would have 6 that are political. So I think that that's something that is an important balance, given that we already have 6 votes that would be more politically driven.
That's a follow-up, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Was this requested by WSSC, this bill?
No.
Okay, and then another brief follow-up, Madam Chair, if that's okay. Would you consider an amendment to make it that the general manager a non-voting member of the board? I appreciate the need to have their experience of the commission.
I'm flexible on that. That's not to me. I mean, if we could get the subject matter expertise through, I think that that's, to me, the most important first step. The rest, I think that's a future conversation. I'm okay with that.
Okay, look forward to hearing from Ms. Reed. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. We're happy to take your testimony now.
Okay, great. I've just been pressing buttons, so I'm glad it's working now. Well, good morning, delegates. My name is Carla Reed, and I'm testifying in support of this bill as a resident, as a constituent, a citizen, and a customer of WSSC Water, with the perspective of nearly 40 years being associated with the utility. Most recently as the CEO. I am no longer at WSSC Water. I am retired. The WSSC Water Board of Commissioners is a part-time governing board that meets once a month. The current board is composed of individuals with no subject matter expertise in managing a water utility, let alone one the size and complexity of WSSC Water. And as the largest water utility in this region, and one of the largest in the country, WSSC Water serves a critical function. It protects public health and public safety. It promotes environmental stewardship and contributes to economic development. Nothing is built without water, and there are few things in life that are more important than water. And as such, it is imperative that the governance structure and individuals appointed to governance positions at the water utility have the skills to govern and lead appropriately and effectively. You would hope that the appointing officials would ensure that the right expertise is present on the board, but that hasn't happened on its own in nearly 105 years of the utility's existence. So this legislation is desperately needed to get the right mix of qualified people on the WSSC Water Board. Now, I appreciate the diversity of experience that's important. And it's also important to have the right expertise on the board. Expertise is glaringly absent at this time. When expertise in technical issues is absent, commissioners have had the tendency to stray away from the topics of critical concern to focus on what's familiar to them. And this results in wasted energy, wasted time, continually explaining things that they don't seem to understand, and thus does not really help to with the progress of the utility. The utility does face some critical technical subjects at this present time: climate change, impacts, what to do about forever chemicals like PFAS, infrastructure sustainability, smart meters, bioenergy, and many, many more. There should be some voices at the table which understand the subject being discussed. And I am encouraged by this bill, which is a departure from the status quo, to improve the board's composition to require subject matter expertise. It's long overdue. And I would like to thank Delegate Taveras and Delegate Holmes for their initiative to put forth this bill. In the future, I think that it's also good to see a balance of power. And that's where having the CEO be a member of the board comes into play. I think that leadership at the top should be shared between the CEO and board members. And to achieve that, I think the CEO needs to be a board member. And this would create similarities in the structure as with the only other bi-county agency created in state law, the Park and Planning Commission. And so with this, I'd like to conclude my testimony, and I am here for any questions that you may have, and I really appreciate your time and attention to this matter.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Any further questions for Ms. Reed or the bill sponsor? Delegate Corman.
Sorry, Madam Chair. I guess my question for Ms. Reed is, what do you think about making the CEO a non-voting member of the commission as opposed to a voting member?
Again, I tend to agree with Delegate Taveras that the most important thing, I think, is the subject matter expertise. I'm not opposed to a non-voting member. I would like you to consider having the non-voting piece be on issues that concern the direct reports of the board, which would be the CEO, the corporate secretary, and the inspector general. But having the CEO vote on other matters that generally involve the inner workings and the technical issues around the commission. But again, I don't want to derail the one most important thing, which is to have at the table someone who is proficient in the business of the organization. I can't imagine, for example, a hospital having a board with not a single doctor on it.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay, I don't think we have any other further questions. Thank you both for being here today. This concludes the bill hearing on MCPG 110-23. And that bill will be taken up by our Metro Washington area committee. Okay, colleagues, next we're going to go back to a piece of business that we had special ordered at our meeting last week. This is MC 10-23. We had special ordered this bill for the purpose of getting an amendment drafted that was put forward by the bill sponsor, Senator Kramer. I will turn this back over to Vice Chair Shetty, as this bill was in the Education, Elections, and Housing Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, colleagues. So we're returning to MC 1023, Montgomery County House Opportunities Commission Collective Bargaining Agreement Implementation Impasse Arbitration. This bill passed our committee unanimously as initially drafted. It was the opinion of council that the bill as drafted aligns HOC's impasse arbitration provisions with McGeo employees' already existing rights at other agencies within Montgomery County. However, the stakeholders wish to engage in some further conversation about how to really make sure that the language does fully align. And as such, on behalf of Senator Kramer, I've circulated via Ralph the amendment that very explicitly aligns impasse arbitration rules in cycle and off cycle to the existing rights that McGeo employees within Montgomery County have at other agencies. So that was always the intent of the bill. The amendment is more or less technical in doing it. And so I ask for a favorable motion, please, on the amendment.
Move favorable.
Second.
Moved by Delegate Barbe, seconded by Delegate Cullison. Any questions or discussion on the amendment? Okay, seeing, oh, go ahead, Delegate Shelley.
No, seeing none. May we do just a voice vote on the amendment?
I think that'd be fine.
I would just ask if we give people a minute to get on camera.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that reminder.
Yes, okay, so to do a voice vote, please get on camera. So if you wish to be able to be recorded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, looks like the amendment is adopted. So now moving on to MC 1023 as amended. Can I have a motion in favorable, please?
Move
So moved, Madam Chair. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Delegate Cullison.
Move the bill as amended. Favorable.
Thank you. Thank you, Delegate Cullison. Is there a second?
Second, Delegate Kaufman.
Okay, great. I'll turn it to you, Ms. Young for a roll call. Oh, I'm sorry. Are there questions on the bill as amended? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Young?
And I think we could actually do a voice vote unless there's anyone who's requesting a roll call vote for this one.
Okay, fine with me. All right, then please come on camera if you wish to be recorded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising their hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you. So MC 10-23 passes. We have one more piece of business before the delegation. This is MC 13-23, Montgomery County Collective Bargaining for Sheriff's Office Employees, Binding Arbitration Procedures. I will turn things over to Chair Love as this bill was in the Land Use, Transportation, and Public Safety Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. MC 1323 was voted favorable out of our committee. The bill establishes that for matters applicable to employees of the Sheriff's Office of Montgomery County, impasses in negotiations between the sheriff and a single bargaining representative that represents both county government employees and employees of the Sheriff's Office shall be conducted in accordance with Chapter 33, Article 7 of the Montgomery County Code for purposes of declaring an impasse and submitting a dispute to binding arbitration. So basically what that means right now for employees of the sheriff, wages and benefits are subject to binding arbitration. Working conditions are not. We're now saying all of it is subject to binding arbitration. And it came out unanimous. So we recommend, I don't know, Chair, if I get to move it or if someone else has to.
Yeah.
You are welcome to move it.
Excellent. Move the bill.
Second.
Moved by Chair Love, seconded by Delegate Moon. Is there any questions or discussion on the bill? Okay, seeing none, I think we can do a voice vote for this bill as well. All those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Should give everyone a moment to get on camera. Okay, anyone who wishes to be recorded in opposition or abstention? Okay, seeing no one, that bill passes. Thank you, Chair Love and your committee for your work on that.
Thank you.
That is the business that we had for today. I will turn things over to committee chairs for any announcements.
Land Use Committee is meeting Monday at 11. We still have the two bills, not including the one that we just got today and the one that we're still waiting for, from both of which are coming over from Prince George's. If you have any questions, please see me. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Chair Love. Chair Shetty, do you have any announcements?
EH committee has cleared our drawer.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, Delegate.
We have cleared our drawer. We have no anticipated meetings unless there are any late file bills that come to us. Thank you.
And at this time, I'm not anticipating any late file bills going to your committee. Chair Lopez.
As we have not quite cleared our drawer, we will be meeting, but look to your inbox for logistical details for confirmation of timing and agenda.
And not to leave anyone out, Chair Chi, I believe your drawer is also still cleared. Great. Any announcements by members of the delegation? Delegate Solomon.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Just a quick reminder for folks, if you're a member of the Transit Caucus or you'd like to join us anyway, on Monday at 2 o'clock, we will be joined for a briefing by Randy Clark, the new General Manager of WMATA, as well as Holly Arnold, the Administrator of MTA. And if you are a member, please make sure you get your votes in today for our last round of priority endorsed bills. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Delegate Solomon, for the plug on that. And I will say we have not yet reached quorum in terms of the number of votes that need to be cast, however you want to vote, but we just need people to vote still if you're a member of the Transit Caucus. Delegate Charkoudian.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to thank everyone for supporting the letter to the Public Service Commission. We got 100% signed on. All of that has been submitted, and I'll be speaking at the Public Service Commission's hearing on this next week, and we'll keep people posted if you're interested in how that goes. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other announcements or business? Delegate Resnick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am parked and safe, so I just wanted to have my votes recorded in the affirmative for everything
Yes, we will get to that in one moment. So I think seeing no other business, colleagues, and if you need to be on camera to have any of your votes recorded, please stay on. We'll keep the live stream going. Everyone else is welcome to leave the meeting. And for our colleagues who are staying to have votes recorded, we're going to do this bill by bill. So we will give Ralph and Jennifer, I think we'll go in reverse order. So starting with MC 13-23. And Ralph, I'll turn things over to you for this bill for how you'd like to handle this.
Sure. The only one I believe we were missing that is here right now is Delegate Resnick, if that's correct. Jen, just want to check with you.
Other than the people who are overall absent, I agree.
Okay, so perfect. Delegate Resnick, you want to be recorded in the affirmative, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so 1323 is taken care of.
Okay, we'll do MC 10-23. This was the other collective bargaining bill for HOC.
I vote yay.
Perfect. And then I was only Jen, did you have anyone missing for the full vote on the bill? Other than who was overall absent?
I don't know that I saw Delegate Moon or Kaiser, but they were turning their cameras off and on kind of quickly. So
I had Delegate Moon for this one.
Okay.
So.
And I think Delegate Kaiser is here now.
I'm in the affirmative.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
And for the amendment for that bill?
For the amendments, I was only missing, other than Delegates Resnick and Kelly, who were absent at the time, Delegate Wu, who is not here right now.
Okay. So then I think that brings us back to the late filed bills. Can go in whatever order you would like, Ralph.
Let's see. And then, since this was a roll call, I'm pretty sure the only person who is here that was missing is in fact Delegate Resnick. So we'll just go in order. MCPG 108, Delegate Resnick in the affirmative, correct?
Yay.
Okay, MCPG 111
Yay.
and MCPG 112.
Yay.
All right, that is all.
All right,
Okay.
thank you all very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for being safe, Delegate Resnick. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Okay, this concludes our meeting. We can end the live stream.